There are wounds that bleed in silence, wounds that don't scream, they whisper at midnight when the world is asleep and the mask falls off. These wounds lie deep beneath the surface, hidden behind curated smiles and perfect photos. They are tucked into the folds of our routines, cloaked in our strength and buried in our prayers. But just because they are hidden does not mean they do not hurt. Just because no one sees them does not mean they are not real. There is a particular kind of pain that women carry not because we are weak, but because for generations we have been taught to carry it, handed down like a family heirloom. In our bodies, in our souls, are the echoes of moments we could not speak of, betrayals we were too afraid to name, burdens we learned to bear before we even knew how to spell our own names, and some of us have mastered the art of functioning while fractured. But this is not where the story ends. No, this is the beginning of a reckoning, a holy confrontation, a sacred unveiling, because the truth is God is not intimidated by your brokenness. He is not repelled by your pain. In fact, your hidden wounds are the very place He wants to meet you. You see, healing begins not when the world recognizes your scars, but when you give yourself permission to feel again, to be honest with yourself. To look in the mirror and say, yes, I've been hurt. Yes, I've been disappointed. Yes, I've been overlooked, misused, misunderstood. But I am still here, and the fact that I am still standing means that the pain did not win. There is nothing more dangerous to the enemy than a woman who has faced her pain and decided that it will not define her. A woman who chooses healing even when it hurts, because healing is not passive. Healing is warfare. Healing is you saying, I refuse to die in the same place I was wounded. Healing is you breaking cycles that were assigned to your bloodline. Healing is you looking at your past and deciding it will not prophesy your future. I need you to understand something. The same hands that were stretched out in pain can be the hands that rebuild your life. The same tears that fell in agony can water the soil of your destiny. You are not damaged goods. You are destiny in motion. There is still purpose on your name. There is still fire in your bones. And even in your brokenness, you are worthy of love, worthy of peace, worthy of joy. The love you gave and never received back. God saw that. The times you stood in rooms that could not hold your capacity. God saw that too. You are not invisible. You are invaluable. And I know the world has taught you to move on quickly. To bounce back, to smile through it, but true healing doesn't rush. It doesn't wear a timer. It moves in rhythm with grace. Sometimes it looks like tears. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it looks like boundaries. But every act of honesty, every no that protects your peace, every prayer whispered through trembling lips that is healing, that is resurrection. That is you reclaiming your narrative. To the woman who has been silenced, may your voice return like thunder. To the woman who has been abandoned, may love find you, and may it be safe. To the woman who has been abused, neglected, ignored, may your body remember what it feels like to be honored. To the woman who is tired of pretending, may you be surrounded by people who can hold your truth without judgment. You do not have to be the strong one all the time. You do not have to carry everyone else's weight while yours suffocates you. Let yourself be held by grace, by God, by community. There is nothing wrong with needing help. There is nothing wrong with falling apart if it means you finally get to put yourself back together, this time on your terms. You are not weak for needing healing. You are wise for pursuing it. The woman you are becoming is worth every painful step. The version of you that walks in wholeness, in peace, in freedom, she is not a fantasy. She is real, and she is waiting on the other side of your yes. Say yes to healing, even if your voice shakes. Say yes to healing, even if you don't know what it looks like yet, because God does. He's already gone before you. He's already made a way. All He's waiting for is your surrender, not your perfection. Just your surrender, just your willingness to say, Lord, I am tired of surviving. Teach me how to live again, and He will. He is the master of rebuilding. He does not restore you to who you were before the pain. He restores you to who you were always meant to be, because pain may shape you, but it does not get to name you. He does, beloved, lift your head. You have nothing to be ashamed of. Your past does not disqualify you. Your scars are not ugly, they are evidence that you fought through hell and made it. Your story is holy, and even the broken chapters will testify of his glory. So take your time, breathe, cry, worship, talk, rest, laugh again, heal at your own pace, but do not give up, not here, not now, not when you've already survived the worst of it. The hidden wounds, they may not have names, but they will have testimonies. And the day will come, it will come when the very things that tried to break you will be the reason another woman gets free. That is your power, that is your healing, that is your legacy, and it is beautiful. Healing is a choice, not a destination. It is not something you arrive at one day with a ribbon of completion tied neatly around your pain. Healing is the quiet decision to choose yourself each day. It's waking up in the morning and deciding that your past will not be the architect of your future. It is not always loud. It doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes healing feels like 1 step forward and 5 steps back. But it is still movement. It is still a choice. So many women wait for healing to just happen to them, as if one day the ache will suddenly disappear without confrontation, without tears, without intentionality. But healing doesn't come to the unwilling. Healing waits for your agreement. It waits for your yes. It waits for you to acknowledge the hurt and still decide to move forward, even if you're moving forward slowly. Healing doesn't demand that you be ready all at once. It only asks for your willingness. There's something holy about choosing healing in a world that rewards avoidance. The world tells us to numb it, to distract ourselves, to stay busy, to look good on the outside even if everything on the inside is crumbling. But healing calls you inward. It invites you to stop running, to look at what you've buried, to be honest about what still hurts. And in that honesty, in that sacred space of vulnerability, is where transformation begins. The choice to heal is not a one-time decision. It's daily. Some days you'll feel strong, hopeful, whole. Other days, the weight of it all will try to convince you that nothing has changed. But don't let temporary emotions talk you out of a permanent promise. The decision to heal isn't based on how you feel, it's based on the truth that you are worthy of peace. You are worthy of freedom. You are worthy of waking up and not being haunted by what happened to you. Even if healing is slow, even if you're not where you want to be yet, the fact that you've chosen not to stay stuck is proof that healing is already happening. You may not see it all at once, but every tear, every journal entry, every prayer, every time you chose not to let bitterness take root, it's all part of the process. You are rebuilding, brick by brick, choice by choice. This journey is not linear, it's sacred, it's deeply personal, and it's powerful, because when a woman chooses to heal, everything around her shifts, her vision clears, her voice returns. Her boundaries strengthen, her heart expands. She becomes a force, not because she's healed all the way, but because she chose healing in the first place. Your hidden wounds do not disqualify you from purpose. They are not proof of your failure. They are evidence of your humanity. You are not less worthy because of what you've walked through. If anything, you are more equipped. The places where you've bled in silence, the moments when your heart broke behind closed doors, the nights you cried out with no response, they are not wasted. They hold weight in the spirit. Heaven remembers them, even when the world overlooks them. So many women carry a silent shame, believing that their pain somehow removes them from the possibility of purpose, as if being broken disqualifies them from being used. But that is the lie. That is the deception that keeps generations stuck thinking that healing must come before calling, that perfection must come before significance. But God does not wait until you are polished to use you. He uses you in your process. He speaks through your wounds. He shines through your cracks. Purpose does not bypass pain. In fact, purpose often flows from it. Some of the most powerful things you will ever carry in life are born out of the places that once tried to break you. Your hidden wounds have the potential to become sacred altars, places where others will find healing because you had the courage to be honest. You don't have to pretend that it never hurt. You don't have to erase the story. God doesn't need a sanitized version of your life to bring glory through it. He needs the real one. There is a strength that comes from surviving things that should have crushed you. That strength becomes a testimony. And your testimony becomes a tool, not just for you, but for the woman beside you, for the daughter watching you, for the stranger who hears your story and sees herself in it. You are not just walking through this for yourself. Your life is a vessel. Your journey is a roadmap. The pain that the enemy meant to isolate you with God will use it to connect you to others. You don't have to be whole to be chosen. You don't have to be perfect to be purposeful. If you've been through things you thought would disqualify you, I want you to know the calling on your life is still active. The assignment hasn't changed. The oil on your life is not removed by the scars on your soul. If anything, the oil flows through those very cracks. There is something sacred about being seen by God in the places no one else knows about. And still, He says, I can use that. I can use you. You are not too broken, too far gone, too late. You are right on time. Your pain is not a period, it's a comma. Your purpose is still unfolding, even through the wounds no one else sees. God meets you in your honesty, not your perfection. He is not drawn to the version of you that pretends to have it all together. He is drawn to the version that sits in silence, overwhelmed and unsure, and still whispers, God, I need you. There's a sacred power in vulnerability, the kind of honesty that doesn't filter your feelings or clean up your truth. That is the place where healing begins. That is where God steps in. We've been taught, sometimes even in spiritual spaces, to perform strength, to show up polished, even when we're breaking inside, to quote scripture while ignoring the ache in our hearts. But the God who created you is not impressed by performance. He's not moved by your ability to suppress your pain. He's moved by your willingness to bring your full, unedited self before Him, because that's where intimacy begins, not in perfection, but in presence. In the presence of your real emotions, your confusion, your doubt, your weariness, God doesn't need you to fix yourself before coming to Him. That's not your job, that's His. What He desires is your heart. Not your mask, not your act, your heart, raw and real. The woman who's been holding it together for everyone else. The girl inside who never got to grieve. The voice inside you that says, I don't know how to do this anymore. He wants to meet her. And the beauty is, He already knows. He knows the things you haven't spoken out loud. The fears you keep hidden. The questions that make you feel guilty. And still, He invites you closer. Not with shame, not with judgment, but with love. He says, come as you are, and not come when you're healed, and not come when you've figured it out. Just come, just be real. There is freedom in honesty. There is peace in confession. The moment you stop pretending, the healing can start flowing. Because God cannot bless the version of you that you're faking. He can only bless the real you, the one who cries at night, the one who doubts sometimes, the one who wants to believe but is scared. That is the you He wants to meet. And when you show up in truth, heaven responds. You were never meant to carry the weight of your healing alone. You were never meant to clean your wounds in the dark. God is not afraid of your mess. He's not disappointed in your struggle. He is the God who steps into broken spaces and calls them beautiful, who sees your ashes and declares there is still glory, who looks at your shattered places and whispers, even here, I will restore. Perfection isn't the pathway to God, honesty is. It's the woman who says, God, I'm broken, but I'm yours. That's where miracles begin. That's where chains fall. That's where healing enters and shame exits. That's where heaven touches earth right in the middle of your honesty. Restoration redefines you. It doesn't return you to who you were. There is a version of you before the pain, before the betrayal, before the disappointment. And it's tempting to want to go back to her, to rewind time and become that woman again. The one who hadn't yet experienced heartbreak, the one who still believed without hesitation. But the truth is, she doesn't exist anymore, and that's not a loss, that's a transformation. Because God doesn't take you back, He takes you deeper. Restoration isn't about recovery, it's about becoming. When God restores, He doesn't erase the past, He redeems it. He takes what was meant to break you and uses it to build you. Restoration is not God putting you back together exactly how you were. It's Him rebuilding you stronger, wiser, softer, bolder. It's Him shaping you into the woman you didn't even know you had the capacity to become. And yes, the pain changed you, but so will the healing. You're not going back, you're going forward. We often confuse restoration with a return to innocence, but real restoration carries scars. It carries stories. It carries lessons and layers. Restoration honors the process. It honors the tears, the nights you questioned everything, the moments you almost gave up. It says even that part of the story matters. It's not a reset button, it's a resurrection, a rebirthing, a reintroduction. The woman you are becoming through restoration is more aligned with who you were always meant to be than the version of you that hadn't yet faced the fire. And the fire didn't destroy you, it refined you. It burned off the lies you believed about yourself. It stripped away the illusions. It exposed the things that needed healing. And now, in the hands of the one who sees the end from the beginning, those ashes are being used for something beautiful. You're not going back to your old strength, you're being given a new kind, a quiet, steady kind of strength, one that doesn't need to perform, one that is rooted, unshaken, rooted in grace. You don't have to mourn who you used to be. That version of you did her job. She survived what she had to survive. She carried you through until you could get to this place. Honor her, bless her, but release her, because restoration is calling you forward. It's calling you into a new identity, one that's not marked by what happened to you, but by what's happening through you. You are not being returned, you are being revealed. The woman emerging through restoration may look unfamiliar at first. She may walk differently, speak differently, set boundaries differently, love differently. That's okay. That's not regression, that's resurrection. You're not losing yourself. You're meeting her for the first time. And she is powerful, not in spite of what she's been through, but because of it. Your healing becomes the pathway for another woman's freedom. What you walk through is never just about you. The battles you've faced, the wounds you've hidden, the nights you've cried out in silence, they're not wasted. In the hands of God, even your most private pain becomes a public testimony. Your healing journey, as messy and unfinished as it might feel, carries power. Power not just to restore you, but to unlock healing for someone else who's still stuck in silence. There is someone waiting on your story, someone whose heart is breaking the same way yours once did. Someone who feels alone in a struggle you've already overcome. She's waiting to see a woman like you, not perfect, not untouched by pain, but healed enough to speak, whole enough to say, I've been there too. Your honesty becomes her hope. Your courage becomes her permission. Your breakthrough becomes her blueprint. This is the beauty of healing in community. God never intended for our restoration to stop with us. He designed it to ripple outward, like a healing wave touching everyone who comes near. You don't need a platform to do it. You don't need a microphone. You just need a willing heart, because sometimes the most powerful ministry happens over coffee, through a text message, in a moment of vulnerability with a friend. Sometimes freedom starts with a simple "me too." Healing creates space to listen, to support, to hold space for someone else's journey. You start recognizing the signs of the wounds you once carried. You begin to hear pain even when it's dressed up in strength. And because you've walked the road, you know what it feels like to need someone who sees past the surface. That's what your healing equips you to do. To see her, to call her higher, to remind her that she is not too far gone, not too broken, not too late to begin again. This is legacy not in what we accumulate, but in what we pass on. When you heal, you shift generations. You raise the standard, you break the silence, you interrupt patterns that have gone unchallenged for too long, and one by one, as women rise in their healing, a wave begins to form. A quiet, holy rebellion against shame, against hiding, against the lie that we must suffer alone. You become a mirror, reflecting what's possible. You show her that joy is not just for other people, that peace is not a fantasy, that freedom is not reserved for the unscarred. What once hurt you may be the very thing that heals someone else. And that doesn't mean the pain was good, it means God is good. Good enough to take the worst parts of your story and transform them into a lifeline for another woman. Your healing isn't the end, it's the beginning of her breakthrough. And together you rise. Healing is not a destination you arrive at with a final bow, it is a lifelong invitation to come back home to yourself, over and over again, to return to the parts of you that you buried to survive, to reclaim the joy you thought you lost, to remember that every tear, every scar, every silent prayer mattered, that they were not wasted, that they became the soil where resilience grew. The hidden wounds of women are real. They are deep, but they are not eternal. They do not get to write the final chapter. There is something sacred about a woman who chooses to face what others run from. There is a holiness in her decision to heal, to stop performing, to stop pretending, and to finally feel. There is power in saying, I will not carry what my mother carried. I will not repeat what wounded me. I will not bow to shame any longer. Because when a woman heals, a generation shifts. Her children see peace modeled. Her friendships deepen. Her voice strengthens. Her life begins to echo freedom. You are not here by accident. You didn't stumble into this moment. You were drawn here by divine design because God wants you whole. Not perfect, not polished, just whole. That kind of wholeness begins in surrender. The surrender to be seen even when it's uncomfortable. The surrender to forgive even when it still hurts. The surrender to trust again even after betrayal. It's not easy, it's not fast, but it is worth it. And every moment you choose to stay in the process is a victory. There is no shame in having wounds. There is only shame in believing you must hide them. Your story matters, not just the parts that shine, but the ones that still ache. Your healing is not just about you, it is about every woman watching you become. You are becoming a lighthouse, a safe space. A testimony. You are walking evidence that God still restores, that grace still finds us in dark places, that even the most shattered heart can beat again, and maybe right now you don't feel strong. Maybe you still feel like you're in the middle of the mess. That's okay. There is no pressure to rush. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for your healing, right on time for your breakthrough. The wounds may have been hidden, but the healing will be undeniable. You don't have to go back to who you were. You're being called into who you were always meant to be: bold, soft, free, and whole. So take your time, hold grace close, let love lead. The journey ahead may still hold some tears, but it also holds laughter, lightness, and legacy. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to do with it, and choosing to heal, that is the most powerful, prophetic, and courageous choice you can make. You are healing, and that healing will heal others. Let it flow, let it rise, let it become.